All right. Well, good morning. Welcome to Wednesday morning. It's good to be back. Continue to kind of walk through these aspects of depression as we go through this month of February. That for most of us is hard. Some of us with birthdays and joy, right? Big parties, those kind of things. So it's highlighting the things that went out on Monday regarding coping. Like last week, we're just doing an overview. This week is trying to be practical about what are some tangible ways to deal with depression when it comes. So the points from Monday's email, just to hit them again, so we cope well, right? Number one, outside perspectives are crucial for insights. That when depression comes, it's like this fog's around. It's hard to think through. It's hard to really make your way through that. So if you have somebody on the outside, whether that is a friend, some other kind of mentor, or if you do seek some type of professional help, the advantage is they're like a beacon on the outside of all that fog that you can get a bearing on. So that's the advantage of that. Third, it's kind of like pursue energy and guard it the best you can, right? Energy is crucial when it comes to depression. So you stop this emptying of your energy that comes because your brain's working so hard to deal with everything that's going on. And then finally, keeping in mind being kind to yourself with just some humility and modifying your expectations, because that depression is like this concrete around you that prevents you from moving faster, doing what you want to do. So if you get frustrated with yourself because you don't have the same level of things, it's going to be much more efficient to get out of it. Homework, right? Reminders of that. Please do that list, things of joy that you can have on standby and ready to go. Too often when I ask that question in the counseling office, I get a blank face and a stare and no clue what they'll do that'll bring them some joy, bring them some energy, bring them respite or escape from the week. If you have that list made ahead of time, then it's right there kind of as an emergency kit for you when you need it. And also make sure you've got somebody on that kind of go-to list, whether it's a identified person, maybe somebody you've talked to, somebody that's in your phone for immediate reaching out for messages and support. And if you don't have a person like that, that's obviously why we offer some of that counseling benefit here so people can get it on demand. But please work on that. Make sure you've got somebody to lean on when you need it. So if this week's about coping, I'll post on the handout here. There's a link of a website I found that's really helpful for 22 ways to cope with depression when it comes in. So here are some highlights from that I really liked that comes in. So number one, be open, accepting, and loving toward yourself as a fellow human who has depression. I thought the wording of that was nice, right? A fellow human. We all are affected by events. We all will have emotional reactions to things, but when it sticks and it lingers and it takes us down, that open, accepting, and loving is a great response to ourselves. Second, tracking your experiences or moods through journaling will help you remind you of changes, right? With that fog and distortion around you, when you have some version of some breadcrumbs to follow, it helps you know, am I sinking? Am I rising up a bit? How am I doing? Journaling is a great voice. This website also said, do the opposite of what the quote unquote depressive voice says, because it tends to be critical, condemning, produces helplessness, hopelessness, those kind of things. So it's kind of like saying to yourself, maybe I should double check what that voice in my head is telling me to do. Let me just make sure that's not correct. Let me do the opposite, but just be able to fight back a little bit is good. Reward your efforts that help you feel better, because that recognition helps you reinforce it and strengthen success. So if something worked and you felt even a notch better, write that down, be able to reinforce it again. This one is popular. Most people would acknowledge this. Listen to music. I would say that's because it's important you control what enters your mind, because it influences your thinking and your mood. So whether that, we just say, broaden that to all forms of media. What are you watching, listening, what's coming in, because it's going to lift you up or bring you down when you're vulnerable. We like this one around here, right? Spend time in nature. Going for a brief walk interrupts the intensity of thoughts. It's the reality that when we're outside, we're getting sun, we're looking around, our gaze is wider, our head is up. It's kind of the opposite. The body tends to decompress when we're outside compared to inside when you're laying around, you can't do anything, your head is down, your eyes are narrow, etc. So you're trying to do the opposite of what depression can cause physically. Also recommending practicing gratitude, whether it's in word or journaling or even acknowledging the smallest items. It goes a long way. And finally, limit those substances that turn to, right? So easily alcohol falls into the category of it makes me feel better because it causes me to escape. But since you're already feeling disappointed, depressed, or discouraged, alcohol is a depressant. And so it kind of magnifies things and makes it worse. But it's hard to resist because it is so effective at changing how you feel temporarily. So 22 things. I highlighted a bunch that are my favorite, but have a list of your own, or as you talk to people who've been through this, gather what's helped them. It'll be very helpful. So some questions for us to apply this a little bit. When you feel off, kind of like, right, I just feel off today, I'm not sure what's going on, that kind of context. Sad, disappointed, or discouraged, what helps you feel better quickly, right? I said make a list of things that bring you joy. So when you need to feel better differently, what's on your list? What do you guys have in the hopper ready to go? Dance. There you go, G. That's right. That's good. Sure. Immediate feedback and communication, humor. Good. What else will be quick in helping you change your mood or thinking or how you're doing? Right. Dogs and pets. That's right. At least try and have a handful, right? Try and get to up to 5 of these that you can turn to really quickly. Um, the more you have it, the better it is. And things that give you joy, right? They don't take a lot of energy. It's immediate. It's able to come back. It may put a smile on your face, or it's just you want something that's loaded and ready to go. Second question here. What's the kindest thing someone did for you during a sad time in your life? These are coping skill ideas or how to support someone. What's the kindest thing someone did for you when you were feeling sad, disappointed, discouraged, or depressed? What did someone do? Sure. Yeah. Kind of just a casual offer. Or I went and took care of this for you. Yeah. It's not another decision that has to be made. Yeah. Other things? Food? Echoed on both sides of the gym. That's good. Yeah. Right. And that one's good because when that fog is in, people forget, they lose track of time. So it's and their body, if it's losing energy, it's just not functioning the same way with reminding them when they're hungry or what's going on. They don't have the energy to make anything. So food is a great one. Here it is, it's already ready to go, or let me just put on the oven real quick and we'll warm up that lasagna for you, kind of thing, right? Just make it simple for somebody. So if you've experienced that, I think that's really good. Any other ones? A kind thing someone did for you that was appreciated? Mhm. Yeah, right. Yeah, remember those that we mention a lot. Just those text messages that go a long way. I'm a real fan of cards, right? If you have a stack of blank cards that you can pick up at Walgreens or Target, just have them in your house, and you write a little note, throw it in the mail. It goes a long way when someone gets that because they realize there was some planning that you did. It might come at a very unique time for them. So writing things down and sending notes, I think, is a really good way to let somebody know you've been thinking about them. So some final comments here about how to cope with depression. Number one, remembering that consistent efforts to fight back against depression are going to help you guard those core beliefs you have about yourself or the world. Uh, if depression is this slow anchor that's pulling you down, you start to doubt some really key things. Am I strong? Am I this good person? It's hard to resist that condemnation or critical thoughts that go through the head. So when you realize I can't fix it all at once, but if I can do something small repeatedly through the day, repeatedly through the week, and repeatedly through the month, it is this way to build some positive momentum. And that way you're able to shield against some of those negative thoughts that really start to affect your self-worth or your thought of the future, things like that. That's why depression is so fierce. Related to that, remember that avoiding silence when it comes to any negativity, you have to be verbal about it, expressive, or take action. Because in that silence, we literally lose our voice, but what happens is we don't have anything balancing out that critical thought. So the more you can write about it, the more you can speak to somebody, the more you can take actions, even talk to yourself out loud goes a long way. I think it's one of those ideas of walking outside nature and talking to yourself. Remembering that when people sing, it activates lots of different parts of their body, and it allows different reactions to happen, which can offset some of that depression as well. But continue to fight against it. And then finally, recognizing that other people are the good source of that energy, insight, and strength when it comes to depression. Many times you can't do it on your own, and despite what we are perhaps usually used to or what we think we can do, depression is one of those things that just really neutralizes all of those strengths, abilities, and outlook. So having somebody on the outside of what you're doing to be able to grab a rope for you, and you hold one end, they hold another, and they kind of drag you out of this, or at least they hold you firm so you don't go deeper. Those are the aspects to keep in mind when it comes to the people around us that help us cope. So it's good to just review this list, but be thinking about that. Make sure you have a list of your own. What are the things you do when you need to feel better quickly? And it's not just depression, kind of that low end or despair. Those are really essential. But when you even have a disappointment or discouragement, so it doesn't linger and rob you of some of the feeling you want to have that list ready to go. Have those people to reach out to because it's going to help in significant ways. So 2 weeks left. Next week, we'll talk about some of those ways to prevent depression from happening and strengthen ourselves against it proactively. And we'll finish the month with some examples or stories of people who've overcome that, because oftentimes that identification is helpful, and the fact we see other people be successful can inspire us to do things differently too. And then practically next week is the last home game of the year in New London, so I will be sleeping in, and I'll see you guys on video at 9 a.m. So have a good workout today. Thank you.